Welcome back, everybody, to the Rivalcade Rumble brought to you by DX Racer and Razor. We are ready to get into our final series of the day. It's going to be a best of 5 between Cloud9 and Selfless. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this matchup, and they're going to have it here. Best of 5. What are you thinking about this one here, X?
This is going to be an interesting one. I'm actually going to give it to C9. I think this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup. We have all the maps, that we're going to be seeing in this matchup, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what C9 is going to be able to do because obviously this is their big test. We know that Selfless is a really strong team. We know that Selfless is certainly one of the favorites going into this tournament, but so is C9, and it's just a big question mark in terms of how Kaiser's going to be able to perform with this roster, this new addition, and obviously a lot of talent here, but what are they going to be able to do with it?
I'm going to go with Selfless on this one. I feel like Selfless, they looked really good against Renegades. They definitely looked really good against Renegades. It looked like the old Selfless. It looked like they were doing tremendous things. They had a little bit of a struggle in the group stages yesterday. They still came out on top with that first seed, but I'm thinking they're going to look really strong right now and come out of the gates here on Hollywood, which is our first map. We've got Hollywood, Kings Row, Nepal, Lijiang Tower, and Gibraltar for our map pool here. So it will be C9 on the defense to get things underway.
Yeah, definitely looking to see what C9 can do against Defran. Defran's definitely one of those really scary DPS players that you have to play against. And, again, just that problem of dealing with Selfless. You have those three major threats, Sinatra, Defran, and Emong. And actually, Michael 3D has been kind of creating himself into somewhat of a threat himself as well.
Easily.
I mean, so it's certainly going to be a tough matchup here for C9 to deal with. But if they can do well in this matchup, if they can actually win this tournament here, it'll make such a good statement for C9, who have, really, they really kind of need this here after taking up Kaiser.
Let's see what they can get done with this classic Selfless composition that we're starting to see a little bit more of them, more from them as of late. They played it against Renegades, looked terrific with that. But there's Sure4. Nice flank coming out there from the Roadhog, and Emong gets put to sleep, but even so, they're up a man. They don't have to worry about that DPS threat, and this is Selfless's opportunity. Moving forward, Pulse Bomb already out there from Sinatra, as well as Sure4 making a change over to Tracer here.
Now, Selfless already looking incredibly strong on that first point. We will, in fact, see Zephyr pulling back, Sure4 coming away with his life for the time being, but Sinatra and Defran going to go ahead and quickly cancel that out. They find that kill. Michael 3D pretty close, actually, to getting that nano boost ready, and they are already getting control of that high ground. Defran and Michael 3D going up top, getting into position, and this is going to be incredibly lethal here for them, as actually the rest of the team is actually going up there as well. They're going to have that nano visor, and there's really not going to be any kind of answer at all for it other than Zephyr just going up there with that defense matrix.
And now that Gods is on that Genji, we'll get to see what he's able to bring to the table with that here. Like you said, can they match the high ground? I expect that both Kaiser and Zephyr will be able to do a good job at doing just that, but he misses the jump up top. That's going to kind of allow for Defran to have free reign up here. Gods comes around the corner looking for something, does get a nice dash there onto Michael 3D for a kill, and I think this might be an opportunity for Cloud9 to clean this up.
They certainly have a great opportunity, but Adam's coming off of that respawn. It looks like with that kill on Emong, they will secure it. Just have to finish off Kresnik, and he's going to die off now. 430, though, still remains on this time bank, as now things are evening out a little bit for C9. Are they going to be able to hold them in this street phase, though, as Gods does have that blade at the ready before getting close now to that Pulse Bomb, as well as, Adam holding on to that sound barrier. I mean, honestly, here's the thing, Storm. With that sound barrier available, they really do have a shot to kind of cancel out Dax, but that is going to come down to what this blade can accomplish as Gods pulls it out.
He is not in the greatest spot right now. He is forced to dash up there and doesn't find any value with that Dragon Blade. Is going to try to follow through with the kill onto Sinatra if possible, but now this is Selfless's opportunity to push forward. Kresnik on the forefront with the payload, hits a nice shatter, gets both of the supports down, but no, the follow-up isn't there on the Wolf. Allows him to pop that Transcendence and save his own life and potentially a couple of his teammates, and push back Selfless once again here.
Really, really good fight from C9 there. And not only that, but after the blade, Gods has already gotten himself back up to 70%. He might actually be able to use this in 2 subsequent fights. I mean, really, really good for C9 if he can actually pull that off, because that's going to give them, I mean, a huge advantage in that next fight, because he's going to be able to just kind of string those together. Now we'll have to see if he can land that extra little bit of poke damage just to actually secure that ultimate. I mean, with Emong on that Roadhog, he certainly has the opportunity to pull that off. He's sitting now at 90%, getting very close.
we've seen an alarming amount of teams actually make a hold before the second checkpoint in this tournament here. So I wouldn't put it past Cloud9 as they seem to really be pulling it back in their favor. And that's Surefour opening it up with a nice stick onto Emong. And, you know, as long as he can fulfill that duty of opening things up with a pick, being a pest into that back line, and making sure they don't even allow for Defran to be able to find a vantage point for his tactical advisor, this could be good for C9. Still 235 to hold off. I'm looking for Defran and company to grab the high ground and look for some kills up there.
And now, in the past, I mean, there have been some things that have worked against Selfless. I mean, a lot of it has been, you know, Diva play, sometimes the Fairy Mercy getting involved as well, or oftentimes getting the Fairy Mercy involved, but oftentimes you'll see the Diva being a major part of it. We saw Liquid able to accomplish that with the Genji as well, so this is really kind of working quite well for them that they have both of those options available, and it's actually kind of pulling out for them with Gods just so strong on this Genji, man. It really is quite impressive so far.
It's rough. Yeah, it's rough that Rolf actually got taken down, though, with his Transcendence ready to go here. That's going to allow for Defran to kind of have free reign with this Nano Visor. Pulse Bomb does miss there from Surefour. He was just a hair away from being able to stick that one. Might have been an opportunity for them to move back into this fight because Defran was also around Michael 3D. Could have maybe picked up 2 kills there, but there's Rolf coming back into this one. Hops a Transcendence, and now they've got their numbers in their favor here, but Rolf immediately taken down after that expires. They're forced to use a second defensive ultimate there just to make sure they can keep themselves alive, and God's now unsheathing the blade.
Sinatra still in the fight, though, has that Pulse Bomb coming up soon. Both tanks up. Emong actually going to get demeched. We'll have to see if Surefour can come out with this kill. He's just kind of trying to troll around and see if he can stay on the point long enough to actually keep it up. As we do see Zephyr finding the kill on the deck, it's still back and forth. We do see Kresnik actually taken. It's still back and forth here as Rolf falls. Gods is really one of the only guys left alive, and that's going to be it.
It's Defran, the man. He picks up 2 big kills there and should be able to finish off Zephyr. He's going to be demeched here. Adam is coming around in Tac Visor from Defran just to secure this one. Not the worst ultimate by any means, but they just want to be sure that they can get this one because that was coming down to the wire. 2:15 to be able to finish out this map.
I'm not incredibly sure about that myself personally. I think they definitely would have been able to do that without it. It was just a question of who was going to be coming out of that spawn. And, I mean, if they had kept track of that, I don't think that they would have pulled that out. Regardless, though, it still gets the job done. They have a lot of time to generate another one. But Gods already with a nice reflect into Defran, sending that Helix rocket back. It's going to be up to him and Zephyr to try to shut him down. As again, he's just incredibly strong on the Soldier 76. You really have to kind of isolate him and take him out of the fight if you want to be successful against Selfless.
Good start there from Surefour, able to stick Kresnik. They didn't have follow-up damage, though. They're going to go for something here with that self-destruct, able to get a little of that shield damage down from Kaiser, but unfortunately for the side of Selfless, they didn't find any kills there, but able to move the payload forward. Now no ultimates other than a shatter coming up here from Kresnik. We'll see if he can find something. They get rid of Kaiser. That's going to allow for Kresnik to come through, hits a couple, puts him on the ground, but now Gods has a Dragon Blade. He has the sound barrier to help him out as well. Isn't enough. Defran coming through, gets the nano boost, keeps himself alive thanks to the damage reduction, but still Kresnik on his back foot. He's going to be taken down, and Cloud9 might have reinforcements to help him out.
We'll have to see. Defran pretty low, but he's going to be able to get himself a little bit of healing. Kaiser comes through swinging, and he pushes him off the point for a second with that kill, but we do see reinforcements for both sides. Obviously, huge advantage to Cloud9 in terms of distance, so maybe they'll be able to get back and support Kaiser. He does have the Harmony Orb. He's going to be able to get healthy here, but the rest of Selfless is in tow behind Kresnik as they're pressing forward onto this point.
A decent amount to work with if you are Selfless, but you've got to be very wary of Rolf with the Transcendence. Defran and Sinatra, they're going to kind of have to use those at different times, I feel, because, yeah, there's the Tac Visor. He immediately uses Transcendence. Now Sinatra can time this out to drop that Graviton Surge when it expires. 3 people are caught up in this one. A kill off onto Rolf comes of it, but unfortunately 2 tanks are too much. A blocked out ultimate Kaiser straight into Kresnik's shield, and Kresnik should have this under locks if they can take care of business onto Gods.
Surefour does find the Pulse Bomb kill onto the Diva after that self-destruct does come out, but still not going to be enough as it looks like Selfless. Oh, are they going to be able to do it before that? Oh, right before the overtime ticks up. That's 0.7 seconds.
That is actually big. That is really big because if Cloud9 finished with a minute, that wouldn't have allowed any time for Selfless to be able to put up a second push here. So, you know, it is what it is. 0.7 seconds. That's going to be big for them, I think, moving forward if Cloud9 complete the map. That being said, a pretty decent hold throughout that one, but from Cloud9 that is, but Selfless battling past it. I think that was excellent play from Defran and Sinatra to be able to close out that map, and Kresnik as well, blocking a big ult that could have come from Kaiser, and in the end didn't really have much from it.
Now the attack from Cloud9 is certainly going to be bolstered by Gods on the Genji. I mean, he's had an impressive performance on that so far. Of course, Kaiser Zephyr looking to try to get pretty aggressive here, I would imagine, on the Winston and D.Va respectively as well. Surefour going to be down at that bottom side. This is going to be more than likely that same composition we saw the last time we saw them on Hollywood, actually, where, you know, you have 4 people that are very aggressive, able to get in there. Lucio is going to be involved as well, as, you know, even with that damage increase as well with Lucio, he's going to be lethal in his own right as well. So, I mean, certainly there's going to be some threat here as they do more than likely jump into that cafe section. Now the question is Selfless going to even want to sit there? Are they going to want to sit up on that on that cafe area, or are they going to want to switch things around? Obviously, looking at the composition, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, and it looks like they are going to be going with that triple tank composition. Sinatra on the Zarya with the Fran actually on the Tracer to hold this one out, and I think that's very smart considering what Cloud9 did on this before.
Well, let's see what they can get done with it here. As, like you had mentioned, Emong not going to be on the Roadhog this time around, so a little bit of a change-up in putting Defran on that Tracer. But real question is, what do they want to go with on offense here for Cloud9? Gods sticking with that Genji is something that, you know, that really proved to be pretty worthy of, you know, him staying on it, especially in that second part of the map, because he was able to really clean some fights up with that one. They're going to go with this dive composition. Let's see what Gods in particular is able to do along with Surefour in providing some of that pressure onto Michael 3D.
Cloud9 looks like they might be swinging around. We'll have to see if they actually decide to go up main or not. Decide maybe to go up Gatorade or perhaps over to the back alley as well. I mean, there's certainly a lot of options for them in this position, but they do indeed just go right to main. They're going to go ahead and get right up on top of Cafe, or at least Kaiser is, but he's going to get pressed there by Emong, and again, really just that aggression to the Cafe is what they wanted, but now they're just kind of questioning, what do we do now? Because we have it, but there's no one to, you know, jump on. There's no one here. The composition that we see from Selfless doesn't really kind of lend anything to that.
Yeah, they don't have that 76, so they don't really need to have the high ground. They can back off of that one. They left Emong up there. He just went down. They can rotate as a collective pull anywhere they really want to, but Defran and Michael down early on here, so definitely not a good start for them, at least to try to hold on to this as long as they possibly can. Cloud9 looking to set a pretty similar pace, but no, sound barrier from Dak. They're going to try to turn this around here to see what they can do. Pulse Bomb's out there, 6 Kresnik, and the shield gets 2. Dak too close to him, and Cloud9 surely will come through with the first checkpoint.
Defran's still going to be a pest, though, still going to try to get his work in, and then not really looking like he's going to be able to pull anything off. He did manage to kill off Rolf, but really, I mean, that first point was very much because of Rolf, just to begin with, because of the fact that he was just unchecked in the back. We saw him generating out that Transcendence. I mean, he was just throwing out Discord's Harmonies. He was dishing out a ton of damage himself just with those right clicks. So you saw a lot of bursts coming out of Rolf as well. So going into the second phase, I mean, Cloud9 already with a pretty good time set for themselves. They do have a couple of really solid ults, both supports with those ults. Adam actually opting to put out that sound barrier, and Gods with the blade coming out as well.
Can he find anything? Yeah, he will. The sound barrier able to help keep himself alive. Wolf, unfortunately, for that team will die, but even so, that spawn is so close here because it's not really going to matter for these guys. So that was basically easy picks once again coming out for the side of Cloud9. Not much resistance put up from Selfless. Then again, they didn't really use any ultimates in that fight. Dak used the sound barrier previously to defend point A now, and going into the next one, they should have that advantage, to say the least.
Really, they were just jumping on to contest, pull some ults if they could. They managed to steal away Adam and Gods, which are certainly some really important ones to get out, because now going forward they have, you know, a really solid advantage. They have that opportunity to go with Sinatra and Defran together. You know, just drop that Graviton Surge, hit that Pulse Bomb. Really great opportunity to just throw that in there now.
There's a Graviton Surge, but it's only hit really Rolf at that point, who pops the Transcendence to ensure his safety. But Zephyr, no, he grabs both supports most importantly here. And again, the Cloud9 seemingly rolling over Selfless, still 335 to work with here, and Selfless are going to have to put up a defense somewhere along the line. Otherwise, Cloud9 is just going to have an abundance of time compared to the minute that we'll see from Selfless.
Kresnik does have the Earth Shatter, though. We'll have to see if he can maybe get a shutdown onto Gods if he does pull that blade out and does hit the floor. We have to remember, though, you know, that was changed. He doesn't have the same height, so if Gods is up in there, he might be able to evade some of that. We'll have to see if that actually is going to come into play. Kresnik looking, obviously, for that opportunity, but needs to be kind of careful because of that that change.
There's a shatter. Kresnik hits 3. The supports are down here. They only pick up 1 kill, and again, this is the same story as the last time he had a shatter like that. Hit both supports. The follow-up wasn't immediately there. I mean, it followed through, but I would have liked to see someone fall through into that back and pick up the kill on the Gods in particular, who have the Dragon Blade ready to go here. They did, of course, win the team fight, but even so, moving forward, got to be able to be on the same page with that.
So we will have the Blade in the next fight, though, and now everything is kind of syncing up a little bit more. Adam, who used his Sound Barrier 2 fights ago, is going to have one again here. So they could put those two together to keep God safe, as he's not going to have that Nano Boost to be even more potent with that Blade. And Emong with the Discord, we're going to see the Blade pulled out from Gods here.
They actually forced Kaiser to utilize his ultimate there because of a Pulse Bomb from Defrant up top. Even so, it seems to be worth his while. Emong able to grab a couple for himself there, but in the end, it should be the rest of C9 cruising forward to the second checkpoint in quite a better time than we actually saw. Over a minute extra compared to the side of Selfless, but Selfless have people coming back to this one. Kresnik immediately dropped. Both supports are here. They're going to be taken down with ease. I mean, that's going to be a little bit of a walk for the for Rolf and Adam, but they're, of course, going to be speed boosted back to this one. So even so, Hurix 3:15 on the clock for C9, looking extremely dominant here on the offensive end.
And they're going to press Emong, too. They should be able to find this kill. Nice reflect coming out from Gods. Oh, what was that? Looks like Defrant almost got one shot there by a few headshots from Gods. That was with the Discord involved as well. So great picks coming out from Gods there to secure even more push from that payload, as they have 2 on at the moment, and he's sitting even closer to that Blade. Again, Sinatra has been holding his for quite some time, and Gods should be able to fire back with one of his own.
It's the Pulse Bomb. Kresnik going to be taken down. They didn't have anything to really support him at that time. This is a big opportunity with Kresnik out of the picture, and I think this is, again, them just going to be able to pick up a few more extra kills late on here. Sinatra utilized the Dragon Blade, found kills in the back line under both supports here, but doesn't seem to matter when the beef of Cloud9 holds strong and look for one re-engagement to complete the map.
Wolf right now with Transcendence, ready to cover Gods when he actually does pull out that Blade. If he does, try to go for those supports, which is typically what you'll see from Gods. Just go for that backline, try to shut down Michael, try to shut down Dak in the back.
There's a hook, though, onto Zephyr, and they're actually going to follow through with that, with the whole hog. I mean, he had the defense matrix up, so he was able to get, keep himself up just a little bit. Did get taken out of the mech. Even so, we're down to under 2 minutes now. Another hook coming out there from Emong. That's exactly what they need to keep themselves in this game, especially when Sinatra isn't quite up to a Pulse Bomb again. He needs to be able to get that pick potential back up and not necessarily rely on Emong to do that in the next fight.
Still holding onto a lot of ults here. C9 looking for that prime opportunity. Obviously, 90 seconds, just over that remaining for them to just push this the final little bit of distance. 12 meters left to go about to be able to secure this. I mean, really, they want to get a little bit more time involved here so that they have, even more of an opportunity to press it in that first point on the objective for that overtime.
God's coming through with the Dragon Blade. Initially he had unsheathed it, got pulled in there, but Emong wasn't able to fall through with that kill thanks to the Transcendence from Rolf. They're still struggling on the defense to be able to muster up anything here. A minute remaining. They're going to try to hold this off as best they can. Can Michael 3D get here in time? Doesn't look like that's the case. And it's going to be Selfless, or excuse me, Cloud9 finishing with about a minute extra. 57 seconds is what they're going to get, in addition to that 1 minute that we see from Selfless here. So a decent chunk of time. 57 seconds is a few team fights. Can Selfless still do this, though, Hurix? I think so.
I
mean, they have a chance, obviously.
I think, to get the first point, yeah, pretty solid opportunity here. But, in terms of actually winning the match, I still feel like C9 has got this one. It's going to be a close one. C9 might, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, that 57 seconds is quite a big deal, so I'm still going to err on the side of C9 here. I think that's the safe bet, especially with what we've seen so far. They looked pretty good on their attacking side as well. Really took advantage of the fact that Rolf was just unchecked in the back, just kind of dishing out a ton of damage with that Discord, keeping his teammates alive pretty easily with those Harmony Orbs as well. And, they were just able to be kind of slow paced, just get onto the point, push them back, keep everybody together so that nobody's looking at that backline support in the Zenyatta. So On the defense, though, I mean, it's going to still be kind of tough for them. We do see Surefour right now actually up on top of the cafe. It's going to be that standard Selfless composition coming out of Hollywood here with Emong actually on the Roadhog. We see Sinatra and Defran both on the DPS options that we loved watching them on. Of course, those being Tracer and Soldier respectively for those two guys. And it's underway here, Storm. They've got under a minute now to secure this objective and push forward.
Selfless did a pretty solid job last time, capturing this point rather quickly, much quicker, I believe, than what we actually saw from Cloud9, who took a couple of minutes there. But even so, we'll see what's going to happen here as they look to move forward. Sinatra looking for a little bit of a flank onto Gods here. Almost got hit in the sweet spot, forced to actually recall, but remember, we're in the territory of this only being one push at this point, especially with how passive we're actually seeing these guys. But Kaiser is reeled in here. He's in a rough spot. Can they follow through with this one? Good heals coming out there from the side of Rolf to be able to keep him alive.
And Kresnik just charging out is going to be more than likely shot as he goes out of position. But Sinatra finds Surefour as he falls down. He was even out of position himself. And that's a huge pick because now they find two.
They're going to pin him back into the cafe here. They do pick up Sinatra, but the numbers. Oh, Nano Boost onto Kaiser. Kaiser doesn't have an ultimate. He's going to try to swing away. Gets one for himself. Isn't enough to charge. Does miss a little bit here, but still, there are numbers for both sides. Ultimate ready to go from Kaiser. Needs to make sure he isn't, obviously, Kresnik's shield isn't up there. There's a Nano Boost onto Kresnik. The Shatter's out. It hits 3. Surefour's there. He needs the cleanup crew. He picks up one for himself. Cloud9 have an opportunity, but Kresnik comes through. The Shatter kind of missing there.
Oh man, somehow Kresnik and Emong are still alive. They're so low. They need to get that kill on Emong, and they finally do. Zephyr with that pickup. Kaiser still pressed. Everybody is in his face, but they have everybody from Selfless so low. Look at this overtime ticking down as they find these last couple of kills.
Oh, Kaiser gets the Nano Boost for a second time here, and I mean, Selfless don't even put up the 33% here, so that will be all they need to be able to secure this one.
Which I'm not even sure they got any capture progress. So
they got a little bit.
So even, I mean, if
it's 33% to win this one for the side of Cloud9.
Exactly. But did they actually get even 0.1%? I thought everybody was on the point still.
They had gotten a little bit because everyone was forced back into Cafe. They probably got about 20-ish, I believe. But you need that 33% since the change came through regardless. So that I mean, that's a push. I mean, 33% doesn't even really allow for much of a trickle. I guess it does in some sense because we saw it from Cloud9. I mean, that was back and forth. It looked like Selfless had a real shot to move forward with that one, but Kresnik not really following through with the big shatter, and Emong being picked off when he did have low HP. You were like, how is Emong still alive? Well, the heals were onto Kresnik, not Emong coming out there from the supports of the side of Selfless because Kresnik was pretty low as well at that point. So Hurex, this is a shot for Cloud9 to establish some dominance here and go up 1-0 in the series.
Really prime opportunity. I mean, they have a lot of time to work with here just to get that 33%, and that should be easy enough for them because, I mean, last time, rather, it really did, they made it look kind of easy with, again, just Cloud9 pushing in, giving Rolf some space. Gods was able to get aggressive. It took them a little bit just to kind of get their bearings as they kind of went in, but overall, did work out in the long run. Defran making a swap, though. This time it's not going to be the exact same composition with him on that Soldier. So now they have someone to jump on if he does go high ground, but I can't imagine that that's what he's going to want to do.
He's going to back off here still. Looking to actually jump up in Cafe. No, he's on the low ground. He expected probably Kaiser to jump onto him, and he's taking a little bit of pressure there. Should be okay. But he has to deal with 3 people in the back now that Gods is on the Genji diving on him. They lose a single guy. They are going to be putting themselves in a very rough position, but getting rid of Zephyr is key to allowing to Defran to pretty much succeed here on that 76.
That's Selfless more than likely taking this one as Gods is eliminated, but as the ults come into play, that's going to give C9 that opportunity that they're looking for here. I mean, Rolf getting pretty close here with 75%, and when you're talking about trying to get control of an objective, you're looking for those big AoE ults that really kind of turn the favor back to your side. And one of those things that, you know, a lot of people in Korea were talking about with that triple support thing is the fact that those support ults are so good with that in terms of those control points. And Rolf, has a major one there with Transcendence. That's, one of the more impactful ones for sure. And it's up and it's ready to go. They might be able to pull this one out, but they need to kill off Sinatra first because otherwise he's going to pull that out and then everybody else is just going to get pulled in with no Transcendence from that Graviton Surge from Sinatra.
Looking for Surefour to come through big here. If he can find a pick onto Defran, who has attack visor. Oh no, Surefour does actually get taken down. They force out some ultimates, and all cards are on the table here for Cloud9. I think they can maybe could have looked for a regroup off of that. I didn't like the Transcendence from Wolf at all, given the fact that a couple of those guys were down early on. 12 seconds to go here. This could very well be a tie on Hollywood.
We'll have to see. I mean, time is definitely dwindling. We do see the Pulse Bomb at the ready. Can Surefour find a pick for himself? They have the Sound Barrier out. Pulse Bomb not going to find anything as Kaiser turns, and that's going to be Sinatra pulling out that Graviton Surge. It doesn't look like anybody from Cloud9 is going to be able to sway this fight at all here.
Kaiser's going to be taken down. It's Wolf and Zephyr, the final ones. The Shatter comes down. It takes care of business, and we have tied on Hollywood in our first match of the best of 5 series, which means we're going to be heading to the second map, I believe. Or is it a tiebreaker? I'm not exact. I believe it's actually the tiebreaker map. It will be on a King of the Hill. Regardless, Hurix, that was about as close as it gets.
That is pretty much, yeah, I mean, you can't get any closer, but it is going to be Lijiang Tower as that tiebreaker map, best of 3 there. So looking forward to seeing what these guys are going to come up with. I mean, Lijiang is on later in the map pool already, so this is going to be another opportunity to see what could be a deciding map later on, as Selfless did pick that map as the 4th map. So interesting to see a draw come out here in the finals. Obviously looking forward to what's going to come out from that, but we do have to do that best of 3 first. So man, this is going to be pretty crazy that Selfless gets a map pick twice.
That's interesting. That is really interesting because I mean, going into that one, I thought Cloud9 had it as well. I mean, they had 2 minutes to be able to make that push. What went wrong for them there?
Well, I mean, when they had the opportunities, Selfless just denied them. We saw the Transcendence come out. Really, it came out a lot before. They weren't able to deal with Sinatra. Emong wasn't taken down. Surefour had a couple opportunities with Pulse Bombs, but just wasn't able to secure the kills. Had Defran down to about 20 HP, wasn't able to secure the kill. It's just a couple of times where Cloud9 had the advantage and they just weren't able to, finish the job.
All right, and of course, that map is going to be Lijiang for a best of 3. Like you said, we're going to be seeing Nepal later on. That is a guaranteed map because that is the 3rd map, so potentially a lot of King of the Hill yet to come here. Our second map after this tiebreaker is King's Row, and you got to wonder with a map that's kind of similar in that sense with Hollywood, could we see another tie? More than likely not going to be the case, but, it kind of goes to show how close these 2 teams are and skill, especially with Kaiser now being brought on to Cloud9 and, showing the importance of him on that role. And honestly, I saw a lot of big ults from him throughout that one and doing an excellent job, but Selfless on that end, heading to King of the Hill, how do you think they're going to be able to deal with these guys?
It's going to be tough. I mean, it's interesting that it is going to be Lijiang because if you think about it, Lijiang Tower is going to be Selfless's pick, but that was C9's map up until today. I mean, it was only until today that we saw C9 picking other things. Before this, it was always going to be a Lijiang pick. So it's interesting to see that twice this is going to be coming up. First in the map pool picked by Selfless, but then as a map that comes through as a tiebreaker. But it's actually Cloud9 that's worrying about this because, this is a pick from Selfless, and they're kind of concerned about the fact that it's coming up twice. What is this going to mean? But, I mean, that's just what happens when that's, how the pool works,
All right, guys, we're about ready to get into this one. Of course, this is just the first map still, the tiebreaker, meaning best of 3, and then still potentially, I'm curious to see how this goes. If this goes to 3 rounds, maybe we could see 5 rounds on Nepal, 5 rounds on Lijiang. I mean, heading into this one, I expected a very close, probably 3-1, maybe even the 3-2 series between both these teams trying to vie for a share of that $5,000 prize pool. But now looking at what we've seen against these 2 teams, this is the first time they've taken on each other in this tournament here. I mean, it goes to show. I mean, Selfless, this isn't a double elimination tournament, so Selfless isn't putting all cards into the table into the lower bracket like we've seen before, and then they move into, or excuse me, in the top bracket like we've seen before, and then they drop into the lower bracket, and they just kind of fell like the last time when they took on Envious in that lower bracket finals, I believe it was. So given that, I think Selfless still should be able to come out on top in this. I feel like they came out alive that one. Cloud9, they wavered a little bit. Both teams did a bit, but heading into this one, I'm still probably going with Selfless for this.
I'm going to keep my pick on Cloud9. I still feel like Cloud9 should be able to pull this one out, especially going over to a map that they have looked good on in the past. I mean, it's been kind of wavering. We'll have to see what Selfless can do, but it seems as though C9 is going to be ready to go. We're just waiting on Selfless, and that's going to be it. We're going to be diving into Lijiang Tower. This is going to be the best of 3 tiebreaker. So remember, this isn't the typical best of 5 cost that you were used to seeing. It's going to be that best of 3 instead. So first to 2 is going to be taking it.
All right, guys, it looks like we're good to go on this one. Just a little bit of confusion between both of the teams. It is the finals, so, you got to be sure that everything is in order for both these teams. But given that, is there anything in particular you expect to see? Do you expect maybe some Far Mercy to come out from either of these 2 teams?
Well, if it's going to come out from either of these teams, it's going to come out from C9. I'm not really expecting it, but it certainly could. I mean, it was something that had come out. It did come out before. Certainly you see some teams pulling it out just to contest another Fair and Mercy, so I'm not sure. So at this stage, I don't think so. I think they're going to want to go with, that triple tank and just kind of keep Surefour on that Tracer as often as possible, maybe flexing gods around if they have to.
All right. I can't anticipate really seeing anything different here from the side of Selfless. I expect them to go with the composition they're pretty familiar with. Defran on the Tracer over Sinatra. I believe we saw them take on Lijiang Tower earlier in the semifinal up against Renegades, if I'm not mistaken. And I felt like they went with that Selfless composition on this point in particular, but going to be changing it up just a little bit here. I have a lot of faith in Defran's Tracer, though. He's done pretty good with it, but can he match up against Surefour as this one gets underway here?
We'll have to see. I mean, now as it opens up, we're more than likely going to be seeing C9 try to get into that point as soon as possible. That's what they typically do, but actually this time they're going to be contesting in the courtyard here, Storm, and funneling now finally into that point. They're still pressing this forward, trying to really kind of press into Kresnik as much as they can. And now they're going on to the point. This is where Kaiser really likes to sit, whenever he possibly can, just sitting in between these 2 doorways, just swinging away, keeping his barrier healthy so that they are at a little bit of an advantage when the fire starts coming through the doorways.
Nice hooks from both ends, but in the end, it's going to be Defran and company already generating that pulse bomb to get things started. Both tanks are going to be out here as that triple tank setup coming out there from the side of C9, clearly not working in their favor to get things underway. They do have a nano boost on both ends, but Defran already back up to 50% on that pulse bomb, which is basically what got them the W in that fight to begin with.
Sinatra already sitting on that Graviton Surge, sitting at that 100% mark. Now 50 energy for him as he was able to hold on to that. Looking for C9. Oh, Graviton already coming down. He has the nano boost as well.
They don't have the pulse bomb quite yet from Defran, so not a lot of follow-up. But there is Kresnik with the shatter. Doesn't find anything behind Kaiser's shield. Regardless, they clean this one up. They use a nano boost onto Zephyr to try to get something done. That was a little late from Rolf, but still, it's going to be Selfless holding on strong, 30% now.
Sinatra pulling away with 45% on his ult again after that nano boost was engaged onto him when the Graviton was dropped. Emong now with the whole hog. They didn't have to even use that combination. I mean, they did use a lot in that fight, given the fact that they were quite ahead in terms of that economy. But, now looking at it, you do have Zephyr, Kaiser ready to go with a combination of their own. God's ready to go with the whole hog as well into that Graviton when it is dropped, if they want to go ahead with that. I'm certainly looking for that to be an opportunity for them, as Surefour actually gets dropped by the Fire Strike from Kresnik, and that's the Pulse Bomb that's taken out of the equation as well.
A little interesting ultimate coming out there from Mon. Kind of wanted to make sure they didn't have an entryway, maybe force them around the right, or excuse me, the right side of the point there. But Surefour just getting caught out there with the Fire Strike. Little unlucky for himself, but now they have a chance to move in. Don't have to worry about that whole hog. Graviton Surge comes out from both sides. The Pulse Bomb, is it there? Not quite for Defran. It's going to be C9 finding a few kills for themselves, thanks to Gods as well with that whole hog.
Yeah, whole hog definitely helps out a lot, and that's going to be the final blow onto Emong as well. And they finally do flip this. 85% though for Selfless, as Sinatra has, he's been able to generate 2 grabs before Zephyr was able to put down his first one. So really, really good pacing from Sinatra. Certainly, I mean, rally behind his team. It's not just that one personal effort, but still getting back up onto the point. Sinatra really wants to get this energy back up to be able to really kind of dish out the damage to that backline that he's been able to do so far throughout this game.
Kaiser's got a shatter, needs to get down. Kresnik's shield, though, his own is actually dropping pretty low here, so he's looking for a chance. He's going to bring it down. Hits just Imong in the end, but they're going to unleash everything here as they go ahead with that sound barrier. Pulse bombs on both ends, able to connect, but remember, it's both of these Zaryas charged up here, and in the end, Zephyr is going to be able to come out on top with the rest of his team and try to get themselves back into this round.
Really, really good stuff from Cloud9 just to try to get themselves back into the game. Zephyr now sitting close to that grab and now kind of trying to catch his way back up to Sinatra. Obviously, he's a grab behind at the moment, but it's all about the impact that they have. So at this stage, he's just going to try to keep his energy high, get that grab situated, and get some value out of it. God's now on the Genji. They do put the grab down. There's no one there to support them at all, and the Biotic Grenade comes down as well, and they just easily wipe that one up, Storm.
Another one from Zephyr, cleans it up, gets the team wipe, and this should be a pause, it seems, as I was about to say, it should be a lead, to say the least, for the side of C9, as it looks like they are good to go and get back into this one. But even so, 70% up on the board for C9. You've got 85 for Selfless, who, going into this fight, don't really have to worry about that ultimate. They don't have to worry about too much. I think the biggest thing is Surefour with the Pulse Bomb, as long as they don't get picked off by him. Selfless might be in a decent position to pull this in the favor.
We'll have to see. I mean, Sinatra pretty close to that grab, so definitely could turn that around, but really no answer. I mean, Kaiser might be able to lock them down. We'll have to see. The Fire Strike is good, so he does actually manage to get that Earth Shatter up and ready to go. We'll have to see what the Pulse Bomb can do, but not going to really find a good pick with that sound barrier up, and that's the grab coming down from Sinatra.
They have the shatter out there from Kaiser. It looked like Kresnik didn't really manage to hit anything off of his, but it's the Fran coming through. The follow-up is there for the Graviton Surge. They get the flip. There was a late nano boost out there onto Sinatra Zarya, but even so, anything to make sure they can grab this one. 93% now. They're going to be forced to trickle onto this one, given that Gods was taken down late in that fight. But he has a Dragon Blade. They have a nano boost. They've got to get something going. No, they don't even make it back in time. And that's going to be Selfless taking the first round. There was so much to work with for C9.
And they didn't even make it back to the point. And remember, this is a best-of-3 tiebreaker to determine who takes that first map of Hollywood, as it did draw out just moments ago after almost 20 minutes in that map. And now we have to go through this to determine who takes it to move into the second map, which is, again, King's Row, Selfless's pick. And already in this best-of-3, it is going to be Selfless up 1-0. So if they win this one, they're going to be going into their map of King's Row, a map that they look incredible on. And, man, if they get a 2-0 lead in this set, this is going to be tough for Cloud9 to come back on Nepal with. So I'm really – it's going to be tough.
Surefour, though, is going to be breaking out that Pharah with Adam on the Mercy, so going to be changing it up a little bit. I mean, you have to at this point, given that it is a best-of-3 on Li Jiang for this tiebreaker. And DeFran, well expecting that, is back on the 76, putting Sinatra on the Tracer. All feels right again. As Kresnik, we saw him on the Diva earlier, specifically on this point in the semifinals up against Renegades. He's going back to that one and relying on Imong to break out that main tank role of the Winston here. So we'll see what they can get done with it into a Pharah.
Well, this is certainly the type of composition that typically does do work against Selfless, but, you know, they switch things around a little bit, and they're still kind of pumping out these kills. They have that Zenyatta still. They have, you know, that Soldier as well as Sinatra on that Tracer. So, I mean, really they can deal with Imong if they want to, and they could actually take Surefour out of the sky just as they do right there. Cloud9 already do have 15 points on the board, but it looks as though Selfless is going to be able to flip this point.
Just not the greatest positioning and awareness by Selfless to be able to let Cloud9 grab that initially, but even so, they win out the fight. 22% isn't the biggest amount of percentage to put on the board to get things underway, but remember, DeFran has Attack Visor now ready to go. Adam coming up on a Resurrect, so he's going to really have to be paying attention, taking care of business along with Sinatra to find that opening kill onto Adam in particular here.
Sinatra getting pushed down pretty low there as he already has that Pulse Bomb out. So now he's going to try to generate the next one. Dak actually with the Sound Barrier throws it out. Doesn't get very many of his teammates with it actually. You know, aside from himself, it was just 2 other members of his team that got it. But the rest of C9 just kind of stuck in that building. What a res!
He gets almost all of them back up. Godge wasn't a part of the mix here. But even so, they go ahead and pop that second defensive ultimate with Wolf's Sound Barrier to make sure they can keep themselves healthy into what they're able to push out here from Defran, who's on the side being dealt with by Zephyr. And this is going to be C9 actually coming back into this one, I believe, unless Emong has something to say about this. And now that Michael 3D's back in the mix, he might be able to pick up a kill. Transcendent still 20% off from him, though.
Adam right now needs to get that Resurrect back up and ready to go, because that's what kind of gave them that fight. I mean, really have to get that up as soon as possible. So now at 25%, Cloud9 trying to steal back the lead here. Michael 3D getting close to that Transcendence at 87% right now as Defran falls to Surefour in the skies. It looks as though Cloud9 might have an answer here, at least momentarily, against Selfless, who really have, I mean, they've been struggling against, a lot of teams have been struggling against in the past, so we'll have to see if this is going to work out for them. Surefour and Adam getting close to that 80% mark as Surefour actually does hit that rocket and goes over. That barrage is definitely going to be scary.
Sinatra taking the long way around, though, to try to see what he can do to Adam. Like you said, he was a pivotal part to them winning that fight, and that he had to resurrect and needed to get it back up as quickly as he possibly can. He's going to be taken down. They put 3 people in the back line to make sure Adam's kept alive here, and the resurrect comes through, grabs Gods, and they take the lead now. But what can Defran get done with the attack visor? Absolutely nothing. He's going to be dropped, and that resurrect on the Gods seemingly paying off for Adam.
Incredibly strong support coming out to C9, and Adam Rolf definitely doing a fantastic job there. Unfortunately, though, that's both of the ults from those supports that, you know, were required to actually win that fight. Surefour giving a little bit of extra room to work with, though. I mean, honestly, that pickoff on Sinatra is huge for them, because while the Tracer is definitely going to be able to get back and involved in this next fight, he's not going to be able to initiate the fight with a pulse bomb. He's not going to be able to start the fight off with a pick, and he'll have to come in. Surefour deals with him so easily, though. Sinatra's out of the fight completely.
Hits him with a direct as he tries to re-enter the fight now. Still, they don't really have too much to work with. Self-destruct, Primal Rage is all they can do, and that's decent to get resets at this point and make sure they can try to hold on in overtime. But regardless, you're looking at Adam 30% off from another Resurrect. Emong is off the map. Oh no, that's not going to be good for the rest of the team. And this is looking like Cloud9 should have this in the bag to move it to a game, or round number 3 rather, as they do demech the Diva. Michael 3D more than likely not going to make it back in time, and Cloud9 tying things up.
And Sinatra has really been struggling against Surefour, who has just been hitting direct after direct into this guy. So the barrage coming out at the very end there, as you know, dealing with Sinatra did give him that last little bit. But overall, I mean, really impressive so far from C9. They're battling their way back into this one, and we're going to the final map here. This will determine who takes Hollywood, and with it, the first point of the set. Again, this is a best-of-5 finals here for the Rivalcade Rumble of May.
And this actually means quite a bit. I mean, you're looking at still heading back to Nepal and potentially Lijiang Tower later on here. And given that, Selfless are going to have to worry, I think, about the Pharah coming out from Surefour, because I think that was a big problem. Actually, no, Surefour moving over to the Tracer now, so he's going to go to Tracer. Adams back to Lucio. It's kind of surprised to see that without the Mercy here, but you got to wonder if we head back to Lijiang Tower lately, that could benefit them. But still, cards on the table here for the third and final round of this tiebreaker.
And we will see Kresnik on the point, contesting with Kaiser at the moment. They're just trying to battle it out a little bit to try to see if, when that control point unlocks, can they get on that point again to try to get some free score ticking up. Emong just looking for a pick on the side. Surefour going to try to deal with him as he doesn't have that hookup.
Kaiser, though, in the front line now, trying to get a little bit of that added damage onto Kresnik. About halfway to that ult, has a little bit of an advantage in that category, but no, it's Defran with the pulse bomb. Does he get anything? It looks like a bit of damage, but unfortunately no kills coming through. Zephyr will be the first to drop. There's Surefour's ultimate. He doesn't find anything but the wall, and still a back and forth fight, but look at, I think Selfless are kind of cornered in here.
Michael in the back. I mean, Surefour is all over the place. Now he's not really even being contested. Sinatra going to be at that high energy as he's looking to try to get this Graviton sorted. Defran in the back, going to be just ripped apart as he is asleep there by Surefour. They're trying to swing this around, but it looks like Selfless actually has a huge advantage unless Emong can be eliminated by Surefour. He has the pulse bomb ready, but he gets swung down by Kresnik.
They take that one, and a lot of that was off of what Michael 3D was able to do in the back. Kaiser was hit with that, ultimate coming out from Rolf, nano boosting him up, but he was just put to sleep immediately. No value coming because of that Ana player. And now moving into this next fight, Sinatra and Emong locked and ready to go. There's a Graviton Surge coming through. The whole log, he doesn't actually have it. He's in the back here. Not going to drop it. He's going to drop it now. rather than into that whole hog because of the sound barrier that came down from Adam. There's a shatter from Kresnik, though. He hits 3. The follow-up, he follows up into a wall. Graviton surges out from Zephyr, and this should be Cloud9 with the advantage.
And Rolf getting pressed in the back as well. Selfless should be able to find this kill, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough here. It looks like Defran's really hurting at the moment. Firestrike hits him there, and that's put Defran, after the recall, back down to 24 HP. They should clear the point with this, but they still have to deal with Defran, and that's finally going to happen. And look at this. The rest of Selfless are still coming back onto the point, though.
Oh, Dak was hit with a sleep dart as he was like skipping off the wall, flies over to the other side, taken down by Surefour midair with the McCree change. And Gods, of course, made a move over to the Genji. So a couple of mid-game changes from these guys. I think it might end up working out if Surefour can find a way to deal with the Fran here.
I actually really think, I mean, on top of dealing with Defran, which is obviously, you know, a major reason as to why he's on this pick, I think really kind of shutting Kresnik's shield play down too will open up a lot of possibilities for C9, especially, you know, to try to allow Gods to really kind of get into that backline. By just getting that flashbang over the shield, it really opens up the floor.
Nanoblade's out from Gods, though. He's looking for Emong, who hooks him in there. Doesn't quite get him. It's going to be Gods and company. And to be quite honest here, Surefour's, he was looking to actually come through with the kill onto Defran, but Defran opened up that fight with the kill onto him. Sound barrier's out from Dak. They want to secure this one. Kaiser is going to be dropped. They put up about 45+% now, and Selfless going to keep rolling on through.
Surefour is still at about 50% right now. Obviously, Gods did just use that Nano Blade, assisted there by Rolf, but Zephyr ready to go with that Graviton Surge. Going to be kind of a duel between him and Sinatra there, as you know, both of those are ready to go. We'll have to see who's going to get the most value. Emong with the whole hog, certainly it seems as though things are stacked in favor of Selfless, as both of those will go down if Zephyr even decides he wants to put it down. Surefour already found a pick onto Defran, though. That's big.
Graviton surges out for both teams. Emong put to sleep mid whole hog. That could have been big because there was a bio grenade from Michael 3D, and now they still maintain control, but I don't think it's going to be for too much longer. They're going to try to push this into overtime here. I don't even think they're going to be able to do just that, as it looks like it's going to be Sinatra backing away from this one, 91%, and Cloud9 going to have to win a couple more team fights here if they want to move up 1-0 in the series.
That was a fight-saving sleep dart, actually, from Rolf to shut down Emong, who did actually pull the whole hog out into that Graviton Surge that did get dropped by Sinatra. If that actually did go out, that damage might have actually shifted things in favor of Selfless, and you would have seen them pulling away with that victory. So really, really good play from Rolf. They're going to have that Nano Blade into the next one with the Earthshatter ready to go. Deadeye already came out from Surefour, but I don't think he's going to find anything.
Another Nano Blade from Gods. He's looking for something in the back here. He does find one, and still there are 4 people here for the side of Selfless. We've got a 4-on-4 on the point, but no, Rolf going to be taken down. There's a Shatter. Kaiser able to find 2 off it. The charge up to Fran, recalls through the charge. Kresnik is going to be here with one of his own. Remember, they're at 90%. Are they going to get the flip mid-fight? They do indeed. And that's going to be C9 backing off, looking for another engagement before this finishes up.
They need to get on quick, though. Kaiser taken out. They're not going to have a main tank to kind of push them into the point. So this doesn't look good for Selfless at all. Gods really needs to make a huge play here. Sound Barrier comes out. I don't know if they can pull this off.
They used the Shatter from Kresnik. He didn't find anything, but remember, Kaiser is back up in the mix now. No ultimates coming up here other than Zephyr and Gods. If they can manage to hold off for another 20 seconds or so, they might have it, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Selfless have the numbers here. They almost have an ultimate from Sinatra, who's actually taken down, but even so, I don't think it matters at this point. God's the last one remaining other than both Surefour and Adam. Here he's trying to do something, immediately taken down as he brings out the blade, and I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that Selfless have this one in the bag. Kaiser coming off of a respawn here. He doesn't make it back, and Selfless go up 1-0 in the set.
Now moving on to Kings Row, Selfless with the advantage. That was Cloud9's pick of Hollywood, and still a very, very close matchup, but Selfless take it. Going over to Kings Row, it's going to be tough to deal with Defran there for sure, because time and time again, I mean, it's been a consistent issue with teams just allowing him on the attacking side to get around, get to that back, or that kind of backline area, into the window, get that high ground, and nobody's able to contest him at that point because you don't have anybody to go up there. The question is, I mean, do they have Zephyr kind of instilled with that knowledge? Is he going to be able to kind of make that change, adapt to it, and get up there and press him so that he can't make that swap over? I mean, we saw teams kind of using Roadhog to try to, shut that down. Didn't work out, though. I think it was Jesus, actually, who was kind of sitting in that back hallway just waiting for him to come through that back alley. Didn't work out. Got killed off very early on, and we'll have to see what Cloud9 can make of that, because obviously a big change has to be made to the way that they pursue Kings Row if they want to be able to beat Selfless on that map.
Do you think we're going to see any of that Pharah play come out from Surefour on potentially on Kings Row here? Because we saw it there in the second round of Lijiang Tower, and it worked out pretty well for him. It allowed them to actually take the round, unlike the previous two where they went back to something with him on McCree or him on that 76 there, or even Tracer. So what are you thinking from their perspective, what they want to move towards up against Selfless on their own map pick?
I don't think that we're going to be seeing a Pharah, at least initially. I think that Surefour is going to want to stick to Tracer here. I think that they're going to want to keep that the same way. It looks like Cloud9 is going to be defending anyway, so we'll have to wait and see what that's going to, what that's going to look like. As for their defense, I mean, I'm thinking a triple tank, Surefour either on the Tracer or having him on the Soldier. It's something that they used on Hollywood as well. I'm thinking that's going to be what they want to go with, but still have to deal with Selfless, to have to deal with the Fran as he attacks, because we're going to be seeing that up first, actually, as he's going to be more than likely wrapping around that backside, and they have to have something there to stop him before he gets into that position.
And, of course, it will be Selfless on offense to get things underway here. And I've got a question for you. You initially picked Cloud9 to be able to take the series after seeing what Selfless has been able to do on control point now, and knowing that we're moving to Nepal already, potentially a pick on Lijiang Tower if they don't 3-0. What do you think their chances are now that they've picked up a map victory on Hollywood?
Well, I mean, the way that Lijiang went, considering the fact that it is going to be the fourth map, it certainly looks as though it's going to go in Selfless's direction at this stage. I was thinking, Cloud9 has a little bit of favor going into this series, and now that Hollywood is gone and the way that it's gone, I think if they had just dropped Hollywood, I wouldn't have really thought this to be that big of a deal. I mean, it certainly would have swayed things a little bit towards Selfless, but I still would have gone with Cloud9 just for the series in general. But at this stage, with Lijiang being the map that they did just lose on, how good Selfless looked on that, I'm going to actually say that Selfless definitely, it seems as though they have this in the bag now.
Oh, okay, so probably what, like a 3-1? Are you expecting them to be able to take both those in Kings Row going here over in favor of Cloud9? Are you seeing a 3-0 right now because of that?
I actually wouldn't even be surprised to see a 3-0, and I'm not saying that just to dishearten any of you C9 fans out there at all. I definitely don't want to do that, but the thing is that Lijiang was, in my mind, expected to go a certain way. Obviously, Nepal has looked better, at least in very recent history for C9, as opposed to Lijiang, which they had a little bit less luck against good round with versus Nepal. So maybe they are able to turn things around on that map. But I think Kings Row will go the way of Selfless, and then over to Lijiang. That's going to be a toss-up. Maybe Nepal goes to C9. That's really kind of their best bet, I think, at this stage, to be able to get into Lijiang. If they're able to take that map, though, obviously we'll go to a Game 5 onto Gibraltar, where honestly that one is kind of up in the air. I actually kind of give that one to C9 a little bit.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to have in this next couple of games here. This very well, I mean, you're looking at potentially 3-0. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see this go the distance. These teams have shown how evenly matched they are. They tied on Hollywood. Lijiang Tower tiebreaker went to a round number 3 there. So given that, this definitely could go the distance for the battle for first place here. Selfless trying to return to that glory of picking up all these tournament wins, and Cloud9 trying to show that their investment in picking up Kaiser and Zephyr as of late has paid off for them, and try to pick up a tournament victory with this 6-man roster here. But we're ready to go. Get started on our second map on Kings Row as Selfless hold on to a 1-0 series lead.
So Surefour actually opting for that McCree instead. They're still going for that triple tank that I was talking about, but he's going to go for McCree, maybe to deal with Sinatra here, and maybe to actually just kind of press into Kresnik just to get those flashovers over top the shield from him, because they don't have that Zarya, so they can't actually protect against that, but still gonna have to deal with Defran, who again is just in that position. No one tried to block him off at all, and we'll have to see if maybe they can do something about it. But he already picked off Kaiser. This is horrific. You
gotta wonder why no one was thinking to deal with him.
There's the hook, though.
I mean, I guess that you can't solely just rely on gods to get a hook at that point. I mean, you gotta wonder what were they thinking to not try to combat that high ground. Maybe tunnel back if possible. But I mean, clearly it worked out for him.
Gods is a
finding
monster.
him. Gods picking up a couple of hooks for himself here, but even so, I hope they make an adjustment moving forward after this fight. Victory, Zephyr does receive that nano boost just to ensure they clean this up.
Well, I mean, obviously this play definitely makes the most sense. Look at Defran's positioning actually right now. If you look where Defran is at the moment, he's all the way in the back, getting right back into that window. Kaiser already found a pick on the Dak, but I'm wondering, does anybody know that Defran's up here? Because now, not only is he back on that back window, but he's also on that kind of corner side where he really has a great angle for these guys. Oh, we do see actually Rolf spotting him out, so they know he's up there, but nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. Oh, the hook comes out as well from God, so he doesn't have the option. Whole hog coming out as he's very, very low.
I don't think Selfless expected this. They just turned around, speed boosted in there, and brought out the whole hog with the sound barrier, but even so, Sinatra was lingering on the point. They capped the point. They actually pull a C9 right there. They didn't pay attention to what was happening on the point here. They captured that first hit. I think that Selfless had that regardless, but
yeah,
I think they could have held off, a little bit longer.
Absolutely. I think they could have just taken, 10, 15 seconds maybe. And if that was the case, obviously that would have meant a lot for them. But good news for them is that Zephyr actually got out alive, so he's going to be able to maintain most of his energy levels, so that's good. But look at this. This is a pick that actually happened before with Sinatra and Defran. That's going to be the Bastion and the Orisa. So he's going to have full coverage in the front from the Reinhardt and in the back from Defran on the Orisa. And you have to remember that change did occur where he's going to have more shield up time.
Oh, they used a Graviton Surge. Sinatra taken down. That was a good bio grenade coming out there from Rolf, but they used the sound barrier a little late. I would have liked to see that come from them. Oh, Kaiser through the payload, picks up 3 with the shatter, and certainly will help his team back them off. And now you got to wonder, do you make the change? Yes, you do. There's no way that Bastion is going to be allowed to get back to the payload. So Sinatra, knowing that gimmick's over, makes a change back to the Tracer.
Really all came down to the fact that Zephyr was able to get away with high energy, had the Graviton ready to go as well. So that definitely saved them, because other than that, they didn't really have any other options. I mean, against Surefour, I'm not sure if you would be expecting not to get Pulse Bomb there, because if he has it, he's gonna lay it on you for sure. So that's obviously a problem for them as well going into that. But still, kind of crazy attempt. He throws the Pulse Bomb out, gets Kresnik, and actually kills him off as well. Now looking for Defran. Surefour opening this up for them.
Another fight where they drop that nano boost onto Zephyr, feeling very confident in his charge and his ability to be able to follow through with those last couple of kills. Still 3 minutes remaining on the board here, and it's big that they weren't actually forced to use 2 ultimates that they have, and now Gods is going to be able to work hand in hand with Zephyr for this next fight with that Graviton Surge. Maybe would have liked to see Rolf hold on to that ultimate, Urix, but even so, they still have an advantage despite winning the last 2 team fights.
God's ready to go with Blade. Zephyr ready to go again with the Graviton. I mean, doesn't have a lot of energy right now to kind of back it up, but he is going to be able to drop it right into that corner. He's going to get killed off, but does his team have the damage to finish the job?
Graviton Surge was out, but there was no follow-up from the Dragon Blade. He wasn't in the area as it looked like he was knocked back here, but it's Defran turning the corner, comes around with the Nano Visor. Doesn't really find any kills at that, but does manage to push them all the way back and force C9 to get a regroup, who will still have plenty of time to touch the payload. And they have initiation, thankfully, with the sound barrier from Adam.
Well, Defran's looking around for Surefour at the moment, who's just kind of in the background. Defran, I don't know if he sees. Oh, he does see him. The Pulse Bomb comes out onto Kresnik, but saved actually there. And that's going to be by Dak with the sound barrier. Defran finds that kill.
Oh, but they turned around for too long. Kresnik didn't have his shield up, got hit by the shatter. Even so, there was no one there to follow through. Kaiser didn't really have the necessary support to be able to move forward past the line of sight of the payload, so he just kind of forced to back off of that one. Adam's going to be taken down, and another checkpoint secured. 3:05 for the side of Selfless.
Sinatra at 70% here. I mean, Zephyr has been just insanely charged throughout this series. Almost has his 3rd Graviton ready to go. Last time, I mean, it was just an impressive display of sustain and defensive capabilities from the side of Selfless to be able to just get through that. I mean, Gods had the Dragon Blade. We saw Zephyr just drop the Graviton, and they still survived, and they won that fight. They just stampeded over Cloud9 after both of those were dropped, which is insane completely, but we'll have to watch to see. Sinatra Zephyr is going to be able to get that going as Gods actually unleashes the Nano Blade here, already with 2 kills, Storm.
Great support there from Zephyr, tossing out that projected barrier to make sure he's not picked off right from the get-go. and they clean that one up with ease, just utilizing those two ultimates, pushing them back. Not a whole lot was really available for the side of Selfless, so not really going to be forced to use that Graviton Surge from Sinatra. They have that to utilize in the next fight here. With 2 minutes to go, not a whole lot of time to push down this final stretch.
Graviton ready for both sides. Nano Boost ready for Michael. You see Attack Visor ready for Defran. Kaiser ready to go pretty soon here with that Earth Shatter. I mean, this is going to be an insane fight as Surefour is getting his Attack Visor himself. And really no support ults at the moment. Everybody's just letting it go.
Graviton Surge out from both sides. Who's going to unleash the Earth Shatter coming out from both sides? But no, Defran gets knocked down into the pit with the Nano Visor. He picks up two, but it's Adam making the plays. Kaiser doesn't land the Shatter. Zephyr going to get hit by the charge there. Kresnik came around the corner. Barely managed to tag him here. He gets a Nano Boost there from Rolf as well. He's laid flat and puts his sleep again. Regardless, C9 have reinforcements. That spawn is way too close for them to be able to make anything of that on the offensive end.
Oh, what a pick from Surefour as he just comes around in that tunnel and takes Michael 3D out, just pops right back over to his team. Very, very quick. Very good stuff from Surefour as they back Kresnik out. They get his shield down. He might be able to get that kill. Zephyr does indeed finish it off as Defran now in a little bit of an aim battle with Surefour. Pushed off to that left side. Going to need some heals as he is just going for some poke as well. Adam ready to go with the Sound Barrier. We do see Gods with yet another blade here, Storm. And man, he has been insane with these so far, but Sinatra actually swapping over to a Genji himself.
Well, they don't have a Nano Boost because they dropped it onto Zephyr in the last fight, which he didn't get much off of because of Kresnik and Michael 3D putting him on the ground there. But still, we've seen what he can do without that Nano Boost. He's going to break it out here, gets the projected barrier. It's going to be into a Sound Barrier, though, so he's looking for Michael 3D in particular, but Sinatra trying to push him off for the time being. Like you said, he made that change. We're down to 20 seconds here. What do they have to show for it? They have a Nano Visor coming up soon, but no, it's Kaiser in the backline. Nano Visor coming out here from Surefour. This should be easy cleanup. 10 seconds to go. I'm not sure if they're able to make it back.
Nah, there's no way. I mean, we're going to be seeing the Tracer pick come out from Emong just to try to contest it so that they have an opportunity. And now no other swaps, actually, as Emong just gets obliterated and doesn't even make it over to the point. And actually, this looks as though, I mean, honestly, C9 have a fantastic opportunity here to steal away King's Row and get back into this series.
Then Defran applauding Adam with the boop he had earlier that knocked Defran into the pit. Defran was about to go up on cleanup duty because he had the Nano Visor out. He picked up 2 kills for himself and then just got booped right into the pit there. Adam, tremendous job with the Sound Barriers across the board here, and this will not be a tie, thankfully, here. So we are going to have a victor one way or another here on King's Row. Is it going to be tied up, though, or is Selfless going to be able to find themselves with a 2-0 lead here in this best-of-5 set?
Well, at the moment, we do see Surefour on a Hanzo. Are we going to be seeing him pull that one out? That's yet to be determined at the moment. Little discussion about that boop that we saw Adam actually roll with in that last one where he sent Defran packing. I think it was Dak with him as well. And that was a huge pickup for sure. I mean, defensively, C9 with an impressive display there. I mean, obviously on the first point, they let Defran go, but God saved them with that hook and then getting another. So, I mean, things definitely would have looked a lot different, though, for them if they hadn't have gotten that pretty and fantastic hook from Gods. And then somehow just letting that point go. I think it was Sinatra and Defran just sitting on the point and nobody was going over to actually contest it as they were just pushing off that statue to try to finish off those kills. They just didn't see it at all. And first point got stolen away by Selfless there. So interesting series of events so far, as things certainly didn't work out for either team exactly how they anticipated. But in the end, C9 got the defense, and they got the job done for sure. Now it's up to them to determine, really, who's going to pull away with this second map win, because at the moment, with those 2 points that Selfless has, C9 has an opportunity. They could go the distance. They very well could. It looks like Surefour is going to be going with that Hanzo, and it looks like he is going to come away with it, not just getting vision. He's going to stick with it. We saw Mingachu doing a lot of good things with this before Storm. Is Surefour, though? Is he going to be able to have that same kind of performance?
I think he'll have that same kind of impact, and I think really right here what Selfless is trying to do is set a pace to where, not that whole, where they actually got to with the payload isn't very far into that third checkpoint. It's about halfway. It's not even around the last elbow there, down the final stretch of land. So that's kind of a rough spot to hold, I think. So I think buying as much time here on this first objective is crucial, and dealing with Surefour, making sure you deny that Dragon Strike as much as you possibly can, like Sinatra did there with the Tracer, is going to be key for them. And maybe even finding a way to cut off Surefour, who now makes a change over to 76.
Yeah, I mean, that Tracer play, it's the thing is that in order to beat out the Hanzo in that matchup, you have to be very elusive. You can't actually just get scattered and killed off in one shot, because it's very easy. You can just get one shot, or even just a headshot will take that Tracer down. So by being elusive, which Sinatra is very, very infamous for, he's able to dodge those bullets, and he's able to, you know, take a couple clips and focus down Surefour. Now focusing that swap off, that's very important here, as DeFran now going to get pressed in that high ground. He's more than likely going to be actually taken out of his position as he gets all the way back, and he's not even involved in this fight. He's over at the second objective right now.
Pulse bomb from Sinatra doesn't really get much. Remember where DeFran's at, though. He's got attack visor ready to go. He's got the high ground, or attack visor almost ready to go. The nano boost is coming out onto Emong of all people. There's a shatter. Kresnik able to lay Adam flat here. They utilize attack visor. I'm not a fan of that one from DeFran. I think they could have held on to that here for the next fight, but even so, 145 already off the board.
It's hard to say. I think I would have used it myself personally in that one, because you know, you want to be able to secure those kills, or else, you know, C9 could definitely just make that re-entry. But Surefour, that's a pick. That is a pick right there that they needed. DeFran going to be taken out. Now Selfless are going to have to pull all the way back, because even Michael isn't even in this fight. So you will see Emong kind of sliding around the side. Is he going to be able to find that hook? He does indeed, killing off Surefour.
That's a big pickup, and that's Sinatra as well, narrowly avoiding a hook. Gods gets the nano boost. It's into a Graviton Surge, but no, he's charged into. Oh man, there's a Shatter Kaiser looking for something. He's going to be dropped so back and forth, but Gods trying to knock them off the point. They have a tick here. The whole hog not going to get rushed from either side, but even so, it's Emong dropping in the end. 3 people are still here for the side of Selfless, but the attack visor comes out from Surefour. They want to secure this one in due time.
Previously, Cloud9 pulling back. And they finally do actually secure this objective after quite a little bit there. 3:45 remaining on the time bank as they pull this payload out of the garage and start going forward, looking for some poke damage to try to get their ults back up for that next fight. Zephyr at about 50% on his charge, and we will see Sinatra just going around. I mean, at the moment, he's trying to get up and around to try to get a flanking position so he can start getting some damage, and he really wants some pulse bomb action into this next fight.
Even so, Hurix, I mean, 3:15 isn't that much time, I'd say, compared to what we've seen in the past. You know, upwards of 5 minutes even so. Selfless had a little bit better of a push here, so they're on a decent pace right now defensively, especially when you see Emong making plays like that, dropping below in the back end. And there's Sinatra with the pulse bomb. These guys are just running rampant. Look at the positioning of where Selfless is at. They're all over the map right here in a good way. They're able to spread these guys up and basically push them all the way back into the spawn with under 3 minutes to go, only utilizing really that pulse bomb to be able to do that.
Emong's down though. Dak gonna be finished off as well, as Surefour and Gods were able to isolate him and just push him up into that ceiling. DeFran coming around though, not only getting the kill onto Rolf, but he's also got the tac visor. Popped it a little earlier, but he's still gonna be able to put out some insane amount of damage onto Kaiser there, who's now sitting at about 1 HP. Is gonna be assisted there by Adam, but he's still very, very low. Sinatra killed off as well as Michael, so DeFran finishes the job, but it's just still a very chaotic atmosphere that Selfless has created.
They're just trying to get these picks as best they can, buying so much time. I mean, Kresnik was kind of all alone there, and then he gets help from Dak and Emong off of respawn. You still have 76 running up top. It is very chaotic at this point. I mean, the last time we've seen like an actual 6-on-6 was at that first checkpoint here. It's like over a minute and a half ago. Still a lot to work with from C9 if they can actually get collected as a group and look for something with Surefour in particular.
Have a lot of options here. Certainly want to see that blade come up soon. Oh, nice pulse bomb from Sinatra there.
He runs straight into Kaiser. Kaiser gets healed up though, and actually had a nice barrier from Zephyr, able to keep him up. But Sinatra, these last 2 minutes here, he has been just uncontested 100%. I've been watching what he's been able to do, getting back with ease with the recall here. 1:32 remaining here, and this is just allowing DeFran every few seconds here to get back up to his own ultimate now. But there's a Graviton Surge. Everything is on the table for both teams.
Michael 3D, pretty low, by the grenade. Very nice coming in from Rolf as he secures the fact that they're not going to be able to get that healing that they need to sustain life. And actually, it's going to be C9 pulling this one out. Really great performance, actually, from Rolf. He is insane right now.
Dak is still alive. Finally, he'll be taken down by Dufresne. They were forced to use nearly everything. Kaiser was able to retain his, and Gods coming up on one of his own, but Selfless still have enough time to get a regroup as well, and Dufresne now has his ultimate. That's what that last little bit was to do, to make sure he could get his ult ready for the next fight as well. It's not going to be into a sound barrier. He's not going to have to worry about damage reduction from a nano boost. This could be good if he has good positioning. Look at Sinatra as well, trying to come around the corner here, getting close to that pulse bomb.
Kresnik sitting at about 17%. His bear is getting dangerously low, and once it actually does drop, I mean, they're going to equal it out with that whole hog, but if it did drop there, then Kaiser would have been able to really kind of just get a huge shatter behind that shield.
Zephyr moves over to the D.Va now from the Zarya, feeling a little bit more confident, knowing that they might have to deal with the Tactizer. I think I like that pick a little bit, but look at Emong up top here. He's creeping around, looking for something. He gets a hook on the Wolf. That's a great start for these guys. Dragon Blade's out there for Gods. He doesn't get anything. It's Dufresne picking him up with the Tactical Visor. He is going to be reeling in the kills here. Kaiser looking for a shatter. He gets Dufresne in the back, but Kresnik blocks out the rest of them. I think this is it for C9 on King's Row here. They have Adam in the area. He's going to be hit with the hammer. He's going to be taken down, and Selfless finding themselves with a 2-0 series lead. Cloud9 ultimately going to be on their back foot right now, Kyrixon, looking for a reverse sweep, which is going to be a tough feat up against this powerhouse Selfless team, which is, I mean, these guys are on fire right now.
So Nepal, I said before, is really kind of their only opportunity. King's Row was almost a given for Selfless, given their performances and you know how good they've looked, even against teams like Renegades, who have had unstoppable performances on King's Row themselves with Mangachu. I mean, we saw Surefour testing the waters a little bit with that pseudo Mangachu style pick with the Hanzo coming out. It just didn't work. Sinatra was just a little bit too elusive, took him down, and overall, I mean, it's still a really good performance from Cloud9, but it's Selfless taking that second map after winning the Hollywood draw in Lijiang. So moving on into this third map, again, this is the one that Cloud9, I mean, obviously has to win, but this is the one that I think they really only had a shot at you know, after they lost out on Hollywood. So Nepal, still very much possible for them to take us into a Game 4, but it's still going to be a rough fight for them against Selfless, who already took Lijiang and looked very solid in doing so.
And I've got to ask you here, what do you think C9 need to do to be able to pull through on this one? I mean, I asked you earlier about the Pharah Mercy, something that I keep asking about because that is something that Selfless has struggled with. Have they found an answer for that and gotten enough practice over the past couple of days against that? Because we are seeing a lot more of that nowadays and over the past, I guess, couple of days with this tournament here. Is that something they found an answer for, or do they have to change it up a little bit to maybe deal with what we're going to see from Surefour?
Well, I think a really good composition that works for Cloud9 quite often actually is, you know, utilizing, you know, that exactly what you're talking about, but then also having Gods on the Genji. The problem is that the way that Selfless is now trying to deal with, you know, all these struggles that they've had with this particular style of composition is that they've moved Emong over to a Winston, and they've moved Kresnik actually over to a D.Va, and this fits their role types. We talked about this, I think, yesterday. It fits the role types because you have Emong, you know, still in that role of, you know, peeling, supporting, still trying to find a little bit of damage, getting into the backline a little bit, but Kresnik is primarily there just to support and peel. That's basically his main job. But the thing is that by having Emong in that role, he's just inherently going to counter out Gods. So, I mean, that's a big issue for Cloud9 because Gods on that Genji is incredibly potent, incredibly lethal, but Emong is just countering him out. So it's a hard pick for Cloud9 here on a Koth map where they really want to see him on that Genji.
And let's talk a little bit about Sinatra and what he was able to do in the second phase of that map, in particular on King's Row, man. I mean, we talked about how chaotic that was, and I think a lot of that was due to Emong's positioning up top. He was dropping down a lot, finding hooks into the back multiple times. He did at the end to get that last fight started. He hooked Rolf on the Ana, opened it up with that kill, didn't have to worry about the incoming healing from that Ana on the side of Cloud9. And then we saw it from Dufresne as well, utilizing that high ground. Now Sinatra in particular, he was all over the place. How do they even get a grip on him?
Well, I mean, Sinatra definitely is going to be a huge problem. He already was when we saw the Hanzo pulled out by Surefour. So he was very slippery. He was very elusive, hard to take down for that Hanzo, and he was able to find that pick for Surefour to actually make the swap over to the Soldier. He was already behind Defrand in the Ultimate Economy race. So, I mean, it definitely puts them behind when they're forced to make swaps because Sinatra is on that Tracer. But still, I mean, on Nepal, we're still expected to see Sinatra actually go over to that Zarya pick. I think we'll see it at least on one map. Sanctum being that map, I think we're going to be seeing it on that one with, maybe some play from Defrand actually coming out onto the Tracer. That's something that they do a lot of the time, especially still if they actually put Emong on that Winston and put Kresnik on that Diva that we see a lot of the time. Again, still able to deal with gods on that Genji, so it's going to be rough here for Cloud9, I think. Selfless, I think, really does have a good shot at taking Nepal, but this is really the map that Cloud9 has really kind of the only chance of winning. So moving on to Lijiang Tower, they have at least something, but I mean, Nepal, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's already 2-0 for Selfless here. This could very well be it.
And speaking of gods, it looks like we are about ready to get into this one, guys. In just a moment, needed a little bit of a break. That has been the last couple of maps have taken quite some time here, but we are good to get into this one. Speaking of gods, his Genji has been unparalleled. I mean, we really haven't seen too many Genjis in this tournament that have been matching up to what gods has been able to do. Zachary did a little bit of it with Renegades. We saw that from him here. But is that something he wants to stick with, or are we going to see a little bit more Roadhog come out from him? I hope we see more Whole Hog from him if he can generate that quick enough. But I feel like Nepal kind of caters to a little bit more of that style from him.
I think at some point we will see gods on the Genji. I'm not sure when they want to pull it out. It depends on when what this first map is going to actually wind up being. But when they do pull it out, I imagine they're going to want to use it to kind of test the waters. What kind of things are they going to be able to come away with? It looks like we're going to be seeing Sanctum as this first map, which I feel like God's going to be on the Roadhog for this one here, first of all. I mean, as the maps progress, when you go over to Shrine, you maybe go over to Village, maybe, yeah, Gods might be on it. I think for Village, Gods will probably be on this Roadhog as well, but for Shrine, I think things will allow him to go for Genji. However, when we go over to Shrine, if they do decide to have, Kresnik over on that Diva, that will send Emong over to the Winston. That, again, will be kind of a problem because gods will be inherently dealt with by that Winston if Emong is able to cancel him out.
And it looks like we do have both teams ready to go here in this best of 5 on Nepal. If Selfless take this, they will be crowned as your champions of the Rivalcade Rumble here. Otherwise, Cloud9, they're going to have to pull out the reverse sweep. It's happened before in some tournaments. We'll see if that's going to happen again. As Cloud9 going to have to pull out something. They are going to put gods on that Roadhog. And Sinatra over to the Zarya with Defrand on 76. So Defrand going to be starting with the 76 rather than the Tracer, despite Sinatra being on that Zarya pick.
So I really do like this. I mean, yeah, they do often have the Tracer in this, but I think Defrand really wants to off-angle and, just pushing in damage from afar on the Soldier. This is a consistent pick that we see on this map. That Soldier is just so strong on Sanctum by especially, I mean, if you just get an off-angle, just tearing into the high ground whenever a team is up there, you can really put in a lot of pressure, get your ult up pretty fast, and have a very, very high impact in a map like this.
That was a nice, the hook comes out there. Gods takes care of business onto Emong, but they lost Adam in the midst of that one. So still Selfless coming through with the first points. They are at a little bit of a disadvantage not having that Hog in the mix now. Looking for some hooks over the bend, but Adam is going to be able to get back a little bit quicker to make it a 6v5 here. Still, Surefour coming up on an ultimate, but no, Defrand finds that kill onto him. There is a charge into the back as well. Kaiser finds Kresnik, still back and forth throughout most of this. No clear advantage, but there's a Kaiser coming out there with his ultimate, with the Earth Shatter. He gets taken down regardless by Sinatra, and in the end, it looks like it's going to be Selfless holding on strong.
Surefour, though, has attack visor ready with that poke damage he was able to just dish out. He did get picked by Defrand, though, so going to be one ult behind at the moment, but Nano Visor at the ready here, Storm. That's a big deal, especially considering the fact that we have so much coming up for C9 as well. They're going to really need it, because they're going to have to press into Dak, having that sound barrier up pretty soon. They have a whole hog coming out from Emong as well. They don't have a Zarya of their own because they're opting instead for Zephyr on that Diva.
And the big thing here is that Resnick doesn't have his ult yet. We already see Kaiser back to 20%. He already used it in the last fight. But man, these picks every single time we're seeing. Well, the last couple of fights they were trades. We were seeing 1-for-1s to get the fight started, and Selfless still coming out on top. But they lose Zephyr early on here. 70% already mustered up from the side of Selfless. No look of them slowing down, and this is not good for the C9 clearly. But because Defran is getting back to having an ultimate again when Surefour hasn't had an opportunity to use his.
Well, a lot of charge is going to be gained by Sinatra here, and you really want to see him getting that ult charged up so that they have an opportunity to flip this if C9 winds up taking this. And this is kind of all over the place right now. We see Selfless pours into tunnels. It's actually Adam with a huge boop onto Sinatra again. Sinatra has got to feel bad about that one after King's Row, man.
96% rather put up here by the side of Selfless. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for much better of a start here to the first round. Except for an additional 3% on the board there. It might allow for a little bit of a trickle from C9 if we do see Selfless take this back, but it's big that Surefour wasn't forced to use his ultimate in the last fight, but he will have to go up against a Nanovisor, so this is going to be rough, because if he's in the LOS of the Fran here, Surefour is going to have a rough time trying to match what he's able to do with that attack visor.
Zephyr sending out the self-destruct into the back line, not going to be able to achieve anything, but that's going to be Surefour kind of in the back line, just staying away from Defran, who has that Nanovisor. Look at all these kills they're reeling in on the side of Selfless.
And the fact that he picks up both supports immediately couldn't be better for Selfless. I mean, they were just easily there. The self-destruct initiation from Zephyr didn't really push him back too far. It kind of dispersed a little bit of Selfless, but now over time taking down Adam, trying to get there in time. Waves hello, but he takes the dip off the map deck with the boop, and that's going to be Selfless with a convincing first round.
Now moving into these next few maps. I mean, Selfless obviously going to be really strong on that type of map. Triple tank with the Fran, just, giving all the distance that they possibly could want. And I don't know, man. That's definitely going to be the Selfless map for sure in this matchup. Now the question is, as you go into these other maps, is it going to be enough here for C9 to start coming back in the scoreline? Because again, they have to win this map. Not only just because of the fact that this is their pick and they have to get back into this series, but also it's 2-0 in a best of 5 right now. They literally have to win this.
They will indeed. If they want to be able to come back into this best of 5 series, but both teams opting to keep with the same compositions. We do see actually Defran heading over to the Tracer this time around. Zephyr sticking with the Diva here, nothing really. Surefour as well making a change over the Tracer. So both 76 is wanting to go with a little bit more versatility and looking for a little bit of a duel on the side. Meanwhile, the team's looking for a little bit of hammer pressure from the Reinhardts. Kresnik, maybe an opportunity for him to move in off of this if he can find something here, yet kind of being dispersed. There's a charge from Kaiser to get it underway, but Surefour the first to drop here. And now Kaiser finding himself a little out of position, might be able to get back into this.
Well, Kaiser pretty low at the moment. They do get the flip, though, with Selfless still in the area, and they're pressing on to Kaiser right now. He's got his barrier pretty low, but so is Kresnik's. Gonna have to be careful here as he's backed off. No barrier left for Cloud9. Gods, though, with a nice pick onto Defran.
You got to remember, Defran was taken down with that pulse bomb. Surefour was sitting about 45% when Defran already had his ready, so Defran clearly putting in the work, but didn't really mean too much for his team because Cloud9 grabbing that 22% now and continuing to build a case in this second round here. They're going to need a lot of it, Hurix, if they want to come out victorious here on Nepal.
Now Surefour with that pulse bomb, looking for an opportunity for a pick here. I think he hears them at the moment, just coming through that main, but he keeps just checking that, just shoulder peeking it, just to make sure that nobody's coming up on that high ground. They're going to get that pulse bomb there, but he's going to slide around that back side, and that's the Graviton Surge coming out from Sinatra there.
Oh, the pulse bomb and the follow-up there from Michael 3D finds a nice bio grenade. I almost thought that Defran's pulse bomb was going to be absorbed by the defense matrix from Zephyr, but I think it actually expired as that came through there from Defran. So that was pretty much an easy wipe coming out. Just 2 ults utilized there from Sinatra and Defran. That's exactly what you want to see happen from those guys. So many times you can see that combo go wrong, Hurix.
Absolutely. It could be, eaten up by Zephyr. Could just completely whip. I mean, it might not be, it might be soaked instead by Adam. You never know. So now we see the whole hog coming out from Emong. That's just going to press them back into this. Actually, the Nano Boost coming out again as well, and that's going to be Kresnik going with the Earth Shatter. Doesn't really get much out of it, though.
I think he expected people to follow, to come back into that. After that whole hog expired there, but just kind of laid it in there, didn't find anything. Kaiser receiving that Nano Boost there from Rolf as they move forward. He's not going to waste any time charging onto the point. Regardless, it's Gods coming through. Imang was kind of left in the dust from the rest of his team. Out of position there. There's a Shatter. Kaiser follows through with 2 of them onto Sinatra and Dak, and that will certainly mean them continuing to build this lead. 47%, not too bad, I'd say, for Selfless, though.
We'll have to see if Selfless could get back onto the point and do something. I mean, they really don't have a lot of options. Obviously, C9 at this point, you know, you would really like to see if you're Selfless, that Graviton Surge ready to go and hopefully just not eaten up by Zephyr at all. Because they really don't have any answers for it. But going into that next fight, where Sinatra will have it, they might have that sound barrier from Adam.
Didn't find anything with a pulse bomb, though. So they're actually just going to back off this. I mean, losing Michael 3D so early on in the fight, I would not be surprised to see Cloud9 continuing to press this advantage forward. And Surefour does just that with the kill on the Sinatra. They've got 10 seconds to get back into this one, but Cloud9 looking pretty dominant here, and they still have a pulse bomb coming up on a nano boost as well as a sound barrier and a late kill on the deck. I guess you could call that an early kill to this fight because they're going to be forced to move into this 5-on-6, and they don't even touch the point here because that is a 1-1 scoreline across the board here for Nepal.
Much better for Cloud9, and these are definitely the maps that are going to look better for them. Now you have to wonder, you know, what kind of maps we're going to be seeing at the end of the pool. This next one here on Shrine, definitely a 50-50 in my opinion, because, you know, on Shrine, it really kind of comes down to who gets that first point. And then Surefour actually going to go to the McCree. We saw them do this, actually, I believe it was against Renegades, if I'm not mistaken. It might have, I'm not exactly, I don't remember exactly, it might have been good round instead up against ZZA, but I know for sure that we saw this when he wanted to use it against a against a Pharah, but that's not going to be the case here. He's going to swap it over to the Tracer, and he's going to get back over there, but they are going to be using Gods. This is that map that I was talking about, that Gods might actually pull out the Genji on this one in particular, but look at this. It's going to be that 3-tank strat actually coming out for Selfless, so they won't have that Winston to deal with it. Emon could certainly slide over off of the Roadhog to deal with them, but already that Roadhog is still a solid pick, so I'm not sure if they even want to, because Roadhog could inherently deal with Kaiser, could still get hooks off onto Rolf, Gods. I mean, anybody really. Surefour could get the shutdown on any of them, so I don't think they want to swap that just to deal with Genji.
Selfless feeling pretty comfortable with what they were winning previously, but no, Surefour already grabbing himself a pickup with the pulse bomb, and they are just going to clean up the house here as Kresnik is still alive, just going to die with the rest of the squad. And just like that, they shut him down and grab a significant ult advantage. God's already hitting about 70% for that Dragon Blade.
Really, really good timings here by Gods and Rolf. That's the things you want to look for if you want to be able to hold this point. You have to get not only do you have to get the point, but you also have to get good ult timings. You have to maintain that so that you can keep getting that poke damage out, get those ultimates charged up so that you can go into each fight ahead in terms of the economy. And you, of course, Gods with that blade, he's going to be able to do a lot with it because there's really no answer for him at the moment.
They changed
the sleep dart.
Yeah, they did change the Fran over to 76 though and put Sinatra back on the Tracer, going with that 2-2-2 setup, but it clearly isn't making much of an impact right away here as they show it to us as 40% is now being hit from the side of C9. And again, they only really needed to use that ultimate from Gods, and they came up strong with it, and they're going to be pretty much secured for another couple of fights. I think if Adam and Rolf can maintain those ults pretty nicely, they don't have too much to worry about because Defran made a late pick onto 76. He's only at 45% now for Attack Visor.
Transcendence at the ready for Rolf here. Primal Rage, we're good to go. We do see the Pulse Bomb, but Surefour going to get eliminated as soon as I called it out.
It's a good pickup for them, and they're going to allow for Defran to continue to build up that ult he needs so badly, but I don't think they need to use anything at this point. It looks like they want to go ahead and use the ultimates. I guess they're making sure that they can hold on to this one, grab it in their favor before that hits 99%, especially since Kaiser's coming through there with a Primal Rage, and Gods is now back to the point. That is going to be an easy cleanup. Regardless, over 80%, you could say this is one of the harder points to be able to take back Hurix, but we'll see what Selfless can do with this.
Man, it's going to be rough here for Cloud9. I mean, they definitely have, you know, both support ults is certainly a good way to get in there. You have the self-destruct coming up soon, but, you know, pick potential coming out from Pulse Bomb. It's possible. It's certainly possible that they win it in this next fight here. I mean, just given the ults that they have, it's definitely well within the realm of possibility. But Still, they have to deal with Defran coming along the side with the Tac Visor, maybe putting in some hurt onto Gods if he pulls out the blade. Is it going to be met by the Tac Visor? Can he find the kill before? It looks like he's looking for it, but they do find the kill onto Defran.
But it's all about Kresnik with the shatter in the back, kind of shutting down what we were going to see from Gods. Gods had the support of the sound barrier at him, able to keep him alive, and Rolf also used his ultimate, the Transcendence, in that fight, so they're forced to bring out both of those, but even so, it seems to pay off as it's just Sinatra pulse bombs out. Not going to be able to grab anything. Defran going to come back in. I hope he doesn't use that Tac Visor right now. I hope he holds on to that one as they look for a regroup.
It's going to be a quick regroup, though, and if he gets picked off, all hope is lost here for Selfless for sure. He does get back over to his team. They are kind of low at the moment, but Defran pulls it out. He finds 2 kills along with Michael 3D. Are they going to be able to get back onto the point, though? It looks like that is going to be the case at 99% here, taking into overtime.
I think that was a big mistake on the side of C9 to continue to press on Defran. You'd think that was a good decision, but it was Zephyr who got demeched that allowed for Defran to turn the corner, pick up 2 kills with the Tac Visor. Now, they are going to hit overtime as the flip comes through. 50% on the board for Selfless. Plenty of time for C9 to get something going now, but they're far off from any big ultimates from Adam and Rolf. Gods is going to have to be what they need to pull through in this next fight.
That blade is going to be huge. They have to be able to shut that down. Typically, you would really like to see Defran either nanoed or with the Tac Visor. He did actually get nanoed up, but still, oh, he does get him with the
Oh, that's big, and I was worried because it was Dak coming through with a sound barrier to initiate the fight despite them holding on to it here, and it was Defran coming up big for them with that kill, but still, plenty of people here for C9 to turn this in their favor. They're at 99%. This is going to be flipped here. Kresnik is way on the side here. He's going to be trying to charge onto the point to make sure they can do something. This is going to take down, and they're going to be a struggle for Selfless to be able to get back to this point here.
Surefour winning out that duel with Defran too. I mean, that's going to easy opportunity for him to deal with Michael 3D. Doesn't know where the pulse bomb he was even at, so he's just kind of skipping around. Wound up dying off. C9 steal this one away. That's going to be 100-91 as the final scoreline. They're at 2-1 here on Nepal. And again, they have to win this map if they want to stay in this tournament here in the finals up against Selfless Gaming. And if they win this next one, we'll be moving on to Lijiang Tower, a map that wound up being a tiebreaker for Hollywood before, and it was Selfless scoring that point in a best of 3. So you have to be very, very nervous if you're Cloud9. Even if you win this one, you are not out of the woods yet at all.
We're headed back to Village here, and last time we went to Village, Defran and Surefour made the change. Both of them made the change over to the Tracer, and I think Surefour wants to stick with that one. Defran going to be sticking with his guts here. He's going to be going with that 76 rather than the Tracer here. So we'll see what they're able to make of this one. Gods on the Roadhog once again. As you expected to see the Genji on the last point, that's exactly what we saw, and it worked out fantastically for them here. So we'll see if that's going to be the case with the Roadhog this time around. I'm looking for some big plays from Defran. Defran has to come up clutch if they want to be able to pull themselves back into this one.
See Kaiser already at 30% as he's gets hooked out by Among, but Among didn't have the ammo actually to secure that kill, or at least put in a significant enough amount of damage to put Kaiser, you know, reeling back onto the point. And it looks like Cloud9 are just almost about to get this point. Oh, he actually gets the charge off, but the hook in actually Kaiser killed off there by Emong.
And like you said, they got the point about mid-fight there. I don't think it's really going to amount to too much if Selfless take this back, but a Graviton Surge comes through there from Sinatra. Should be an easy cleanup as they get Kaiser out of the mech, take care of business here. They lost to Fran. Defran getting it back to the point won't be too much of an issue. He's pretty quick on the 76, man, but that 11% lead going to be shut down right away from the side of C9.
Now Sinatra, though, without that Graviton, I mean, they had to use it right there just to secure the point. So we'll have to see if he can maintain that energy level and hold on to this, or if maybe C9 with their 3 ultimates that are charged up, almost 4 with Adam coming up with the sound barrier, are going to be enough to actually turn this one. Kaiser gets grenaded, but the nano boost comes out. Earth Shatter missed, man.
Yeah, I didn't really find anything from that. Thankfully, he wasn't taken out, though, by Surefour's ultimate. There is a Boostio on the table here, as it looks like Dax trying to get something done. Didn't really find too much damage as the Boostio, and still, Selfless holding a couple of people on the point, not going to be lasting too much longer. They took a decent lead here, but we've seen this from them in the last 2 rounds here, because they got up to about 45–50% before actually falling.
Still a lot of ultimates. I mean, Adam, Gods, both with theirs. Self-destruct at the ready as well, but you know, without Kaiser there, you don't typically see a huge huge amount of kills coming from it. I mean, obviously a lot can be said about the isolation that you get from the self-destruct, and it looks like they will probably send that in off the point. But again, just a lot of line of sight to use to get away from that. So I'm not sure if it'll get kills, but it might lead to kills through the isolation that it creates.
Attack visor coming out from DeFran. Sound barrier trying to hold strong through that, and you mentioned all of the ultimates they had. Man, Gods was put to sleep there. They didn't find really anything from that Hurix, despite being on a massive disadvantage. They only used Tactical Visor from DeFran, and they still punch out, what, 4 ultimates, I believe, were used from C9. They can't come up victorious. Selfless will be able to take back the lead here.
Now the problem is that Graviton is coming up once again, and Emong has been holding on to this whole hog for a little bit, ready to use in conjunction with that Grav. So certainly a lot of firepower to be backed up. Can Rolf actually land that sleep dart once again to shut Emong down? It definitely is a possibility. He's done it before, but I'm not sure if he can do it again. That is definitely asking a lot of your Ana.
Looking for an opportunity to drop the Shatter once Kaiser can get another Fire Strike here. As they actually are going to take the high ground approach. Maybe look for a little bit of a flank potential with Gods. Maybe trying to get a hook out here. See if they can open up this fight. Graviton Surge up high there, coming out from the side of Sinatra. As it looks like Kresnik actually gets the Nano Boost up here. And again, they open up the fight. They're actually dropping all of their ultimates into this one here. And they retain this. And remember, only 10 seconds left. They have a couple of people near the point for C9. But I'm afraid this is a done deal. Sheer forward coming back on the 76. He is going to be taken down easily. And that should be Selfless tying this one up. We are headed to a 5th and final round here on Nepal.
Really good performance. Now the question is, what is that final map going to be? If it's Sanctum, ooh, that's not going to look good for C9. We'll have to see what the RNG gods give to us here for this final 5th map, but we'll have to see. I mean, just moments away. It is going to be, it's going to be Shrine here. So this is actually a little bit of a toss-up. I definitely think either team could pull this one out. God's going to be on the Genji here. Selfless, you know, definitely had a little bit of a struggle here, certainly starting off on this map, but now going to have to pull it out. They want to take away this 3-0 and just shut this down, take away a finals victory. So, I mean, this is a thing that Selfless hasn't been able to do in quite some time, is take a first place in a tournament like this.
And how do you think they've managed to get past Gods right now? Because he was an issue last time.
Well, I mean, yeah, you really have to hope that DeFran's able to shut him down. We saw the Nano Boost coming out sometimes and really kind of helping. Visor certainly going to do a lot. Bmong, maybe, you know, he gets that hook, but really you're relying on these guys to make some huge plays to shut down Gods, who's an impact player himself.
Right away, we're looking for something from Emong. Wasn't able to do much with his hook here. Surefour trying to flank around the side. He's not quite going to get hit with the bio grenade as this point starts to unlock. This is a battle of the Tracers looking to pick up an early kill, get some of that early ult charge, as Surefour currently has a little bit of a lead, but now the teams are going to be forced to engage off this one. Kaiser on the Winston, Kresnik with the Reinhardt here, so a little bit of a difference in those main tanks, but Kaiser forced to jump off this one. I think they might be able to press this forward, especially Surefour has his ultimate ready to go, but no, it's Kaiser the first to drop.
Still, Emong with that kill on Kaiser. I mean, they need to really do a lot more with that. Gods falls actually as well, and DeFran not only getting those kills alongside Sinatra, but he's actually going to secure his Tac Visor just to push this forward and make sure that C9 can't battle their way back, because that's something that C9 has done before, is that they've come back off a respawn after delaying a fight like that and actually swung it themselves, especially with Gods. But that's not going to be the case here, as DeFran just secures it with that Tac Visor pushing forward, though. We do see still that Nano Boost ready to go with Michael. And as well, I mean, Dak with the sound barrier kind of on pace with Adam.
And starting out this map with the first points, you know how hard it can be to take this back here, because we talk about this time after time. And again, they buy themselves even more time. I think that's easily 50+% before the next fight even starts, especially since Dak is going to have his sound barrier to extend the next fight here. So this is looking pretty good already for Selfless. They're looking to 3-0 Cloud9 here in the finals.
Certainly on pace for that, but they still have to answer Gods now. They really do. I mean, Nano Boost onto DeFran worked last time. Maybe the whole hog is able to, you know, bounce him away enough that he's not able to have that same kind of lethality that we're looking for. But that's the Nano Boost going out.
It's onto Sinatra there from the side of Selfless. Oh man, Rolf is actually charged into there. Pulse bombs out. Surefour picks up one for himself, and this is going to be C9 battling their way back into this one. I thought that that Selfless were going to be able to have that. Questionable putting that Nano Boost onto Sinatra there. Didn't really find a whole lot from that. Missed his Pulse Bomb to initiate 62% regardless for Selfless.
I mean, that's something that they have done in the past, though.
Certainly, yeah.
Typically in the past, though, it was with Defran on the Tracer that they did actually use the Nano Boost on him. Maybe it was just a misfire. Maybe they were trying to line it up onto Defran and Sinatra just happened to blink in the way. You never know. I mean, at this stage. But nonetheless, it didn't work out. Now they're going to have to battle back onto the point and steal this away. But Kaiser getting hooked in. Not going to be enough. Whole Hog coming out, though, to try to separate him. And look at the distance. Kaiser's all the way in the back. Has his Primal Rage, though, so you will have that health reset going into this.
That was a good job from Zephyr, keeping Kaiser alive with the defense matrix here. He does get a reset, but it's sure for the first to fall. Looking for a shatter from Kresnik. He's going to go ahead and drop it. Hits nothing but a pillar. That's not going to be a good sign for him as they do lose Sinatra. But even so, they're taking care of business. That's with Gods. That's a big thing that's on my mind right now. Gods has not been as much of an impact on the Genji as we've seen from him previously on Shrine Yurix.
Surefour with the Pulse Bomb coming in. He's just going to try to stall the point out. Gets hooked, though, by Emong, and they should be able to get this one back in their favor. Selfless now coming back into it. I mean, they still maintain the lead. They retained it throughout that entire fight, but they're going to have to hold on to this point for quite some time, and that's going to be, again, against that really tough duo of ults with Rolf and God's Transcendence, as well as, ooh, some nice hits there from Rolf, but yeah, that Dragon Blade's still going to be very, very tough to deal with. They, again, have that Nano Visor ready, so they could deal with it, especially with the Sound Barrier up as well, and I think that that's going to be what they're going to want to go with, and they have a really good opportunity here to take this one, which is going to be the last fight.
Pulse Bomb's out there, Surefour capitalizing. Dragon Blade, everything's on the table here. We're going to hit overtime, certainly, but the Transcendence is going to be able to battle past a lot of that damage that came in there from Defran. But man, Sinatra trying to even out the playing field with the Pulse Bomb of his own, was looking for an opportunity. We're in overtime now. This is everything. Cloud9 need to pull this in their favor. They are going to do just that with the kill on the Dak as well. Kresnik is still in the area with a couple teammates, but it's Cloud9 having another chance to be able to pull this in their favor.
Such a strong Pulse Bomb that started that fight out. Surefour really making the play to get his team in there and it give them just a slight edge, because really it was kind of, you know, a little bit equal with the way that those ults were, because, you know, while Gods might have gotten canceled out by Defran and Michael 3D, Rolf had that Transcendence as well, so it's not like he was going to be able to find those kills himself. A little bit, you know, kind of equaled out, balanced out, but that was actually huge that they were able to cancel out the Reinhardt in that first one. Look at the swap, though, from Defran. He's looking to try to beat out Gods. He pulled out the blade there.
Yeah, he did. It was another blade from him, but Kresnik falls short with his ultimate again. Maybe not adjusting to the Reinhardt Earthshatter changes as well as he maybe hoped for, because there is a lot of slanted ground here. Didn't really find anything. Still, they've got an opportunity to pull this in their favor. Like you said, Defran is on that Winston here. We're going to hit overtime. This is the final fight we've got on the table. Oh, God's going to be taken down by Defran. Pulse Bomb's out there. Misses from Sinatra. They have the ultimate from Michael 3D. What can they find? Wolf comes through, though, trying to save his team with that ultimate.
He has the Transcendence, and that's big. That might be everything that they really kind of needed to actually push forward. Surefour with another pick on the Kresnik. Can Emong find the kill? They go through. Sinatra with 2 kills on the board. He's looking to DMAX. Zephyr does it. It looks like
I think they might have it. He has a Pulse Bomb. He brings it out there. Doesn't find him. No, Surefour recalls to safety. They've got numbers here for the side of Selfless. Emong with the whole log. He unleashes the beast. He finds Surefour. They almost take control of the point, though. They are going to. It takes down. That is a 3-0 for Selfless. They will be your champions of the Rivalcade Rumble.
What an impressive performance. I mean, C9 almost with the comeback there, you know, reeling from those first 2 maps, but overall, Sinatra, Defran coming through at the end. Really, really good performance from Sinatra. I mean, C9, they almost had Gods get away, actually, for quite some time against Defran, who was on that Winston. I mean, Gods was all over the place. Really, really hard to get locked down by that Winston, and almost made it away. He found a kill onto Dak, but it just wasn't enough in the end. Surefour tried to, you know, get that Pulse Bomb action going as well, but still, man, really good stuff from Cloud9. Really looking forward to the, you know, the future that they have together as a roster. But Selfless, finally, with the first place finish in a tournament of this caliber.
I've been looking for that. Selfless, I mean, they came a long ways. They started to dominate the scene. Then Rogue kind of said, hey, guys, we're a little bit better. We're going to, you know, push you down a little bit there. But, you know, coming up with a massive 3-0 tournament victory. And the fact that it was a 3-0 here, because I think that says something. That really sets the standard for Selfless continuing to move forward here.
Well, I mean, still, a lot can be said about Cloud9 as well, because if you think about it, that matchup was very close. We saw the draw on Hollywood that led to Lijiang Tower. That was even a pretty close matchup there on Nepal. Really, it was kind of just King's Row that was very heavily in Selfless's favor. So, I mean, at that stage, it's still, I mean, Cloud9 had an opportunity. It was just Selfless, came out and, just obviously it's obvious to say, but played better today. That's what it came down to, because Cloud9, I think, if it was, tomorrow, the next day, Cloud9 might be able to take that one.
All right, well, that's going to wrap everything up from us here at the Atlantic City Fan Expo at the Showboat Hotel. I want to give a big shout-out to our sponsors, as always, DX Racer and Razor. Be sure to follow Live the Battle on Twitter, doing Overwatch stuff all the time, and as well as myself and Hurix. I'm at Game with Storm. He's at CT Hurix. We're always doing Overwatch tournaments. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Another congratulations to Selfless, and we'll see you next time.